All right, gun owners in Jasper County, Joplin in particular, you have a choice to make in the upcoming August 6th Republican Party primary. Representative Lane Roberts or challenger Thomas Ross. Who's going to fight for your gun rights in the Missouri House? Stay tuned, guys. We're breaking this race down for you right now. Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. The August primary is almost here, and in Joplin, we're being asked by a lot of gun voters about this matchup between incumbent state rep Lane Roberts and his challenger Thomas Ross. This is a rematch from the primary 2 years ago, and a lot of you are asking us, has anything changed in this race from 2 years ago? And the answer, as you're about to find out, is a lot has changed when it comes to Lane Roberts' support for the Second Amendment. I'm going to begin in this video with Lane Roberts, but I want to say at the very beginning here, our job is not to tell you who to vote for. We can't do that. Our job here is to give you guys the facts the candidates very often are trying to hide, so you can make your own most informed decision. It's no secret here in Missouri we have massive Republican majorities here in Jeff City, but we have a growing number of backstabbing rhino traitors who say they're pro-gun on the campaign trail and fight to attack our gun rights once they're safely in office in the Capitol. And that is the case with Lane Roberts. Don't take my word for it. I'm going to prove it for you here in just a couple of minutes. But I'm going to begin with Thomas Ross. The good news about Thomas Ross is he has surveyed 100% pro-gun with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. What it means to us to be 100% pro-gun is not just that a guy or gal will vote pro-gun. That's easy. When a bill's on the floor for a vote, leadership has already whipped the count. They've already almost whipped their members physically. You will vote yes. Voting yes on the floor is easy. What's hard is sponsoring pro-gun bills, because there's a lot of pressure that comes against you if you sponsor a pro-gun bill. In the media, in your own caucus, in your district, it can be a really big pressure point for some people. And so for Thomas Ross to survey 100% pro-gun, it means he would sponsor bills like enhanced stand your ground law. We've got stand your ground law here in Missouri, but our stand your ground law is pretty weak. Here in Missouri, if you use your firearm, you're automatically presumed guilty. And that's a real problem. In America, we should be presumed innocent until we're proven guilty. And in 18 other states, when people use their firearms, they're presumed innocent. And the state has to prove their guilt. That's how it should be, but it's not that way here in Missouri. Thomas Ross agrees, and he would sponsor that bill. He'd also sponsor a bill to ban red flag gun seizures. You know what a red flag law is? It allows someone to claim you could be dangerous, ask a judge to order the seizure of your firearms, and when they agree, not if, when they agree, your guns will be taken before you've ever been arrested, let alone convicted of a crime. Here in Missouri, we want to ban red flags altogether, as other red states have. Thomas Ross agrees. He would sponsor that bill. Thomas Ross would also sponsor legislation to get rid of deadly gun-free zones. We all know what gun-free zones are. They are a target, a big blinking red arrow, like we have on the board right here showing Joplin, telling criminals, telling murderers, this is a place you can go to get a body count, because in this area, no one can fight back. It's asinine. It's lethally dangerous. They have to be repealed here in Missouri. Ross would sponsor that bill. Every other question we asked him, 100% pro-gun. He opposes the AR-15 ban. He opposes magazine bans. And very importantly, Thomas Ross opposes any attempt to create a licensing system for ammunition sales. Now you might say, why is that a big deal? You're about to find out. So every single question we asked Thomas Ross, 100% pro-gun, a guy who will absolutely be a pro-gun vote the way he professes in Jefferson City. That brings up Lane Roberts. Now Lane's been there for a couple of years now, 6 years now in Jefferson City. And I can tell you, having been there long before Lane got there, that he is getting worse literally by the day right now when it comes to our gun rights. It's not good stuff. In this election cycle, Lane Roberts refused to fill out the candidate survey for the Missouri Firearms Coalition. Frankly, we weren't surprised. Lane Roberts has become an enemy to gun owners. I'm about to prove that here momentarily. And so we were not surprised when he would not sign the survey. But it paints a bit of a problem for gun voters in knowing how Lane would vote. For example, a lot of folks right now here in Jeff City on the Republican side want some form of red flag gun seizures. Would Lane Roberts vote yes? Would he vote no? We don't know because he won't say. The same thing for constitutional carry. This is a big issue here in Missouri still today, even though we passed it way back in 2016. But there are elements in the Republican caucus who want to force Missourians to go through a permitting system again, even though 28 states now, I believe it is, have made that permit optional. They want to force us into that permitting system again. And that's a real problem for gun owners here in Missouri, and that's why it's a real big concern that Lane Roberts will not answer his candidate survey and tell us where he stands on that issue. But guys, that's not the half of it. In 2021, we passed the Second Amendment Preservation Act here in Missouri. And what SAPA does is it tells Joe Biden, you cannot use state authorities, our city cops, our sheriff's deputies, our troopers, to enforce federal gun control. If you want to enforce that tyrannical BS here in Missouri, you bring federal authorities in here to do it. You can't use our cops. It's the number one successful legislation here in Missouri. It's a leading issue across red states across America. And do you want to guess? Who was so opposed to this behind closed doors? Do you want to guess who worked overtime trying to tank SAPA before it got to the floor for a vote? It was this guy. It was Lane Roberts, viciously opposed to SAPA. Now, Lane Roberts did vote for SAPA because, like I said, when a bill comes to the floor for a vote, leadership will whip their members repeatedly. And whipping does not actually mean physically beating them. It means they push them day by text message. Are you a yes or are you a no? And they browbeat people into becoming a yes vote. And finally, Lane Roberts broke under the pressure, I guess, and was a yes vote. But Lane Roberts did all he could to tank SAPA legislation in the Missouri House. And that even still isn't the worst part. Just last year, in committee, because Lane Roberts is the chairman of the Public Safety Committee, Lane Roberts ran a bill. It was House Bill 301, and it was the big public safety, the crime bill last year. The bill was fine as it started. It got through committee. We watched it very closely. And then in February, this is February 23rd of 2023, Lane Roberts slides an amendment into this massive, huge, long crime bill. And it was very devious. It was done about 5 minutes before they were scheduled to vote on and consider this amended version in committee. And the language says, no person shall sell ammunition unless they are designated as a licensed ammunition seller by the Secretary of State. Let me back up and read it to you again. No person shall sell ammunition unless they are designated as a licensed ammunition seller by the Secretary of State. What does that mean? What it means is that if you sell a box of 22 shells to a buddy at the gun range and he forgot his ammo bag, his range bag, you'd be a criminal. If you literally gave a box of shells to a friend of yours on deer opener because he also forgot his ammo, you'd be a criminal. It was insane. We heard about this with about 10 minutes notice. We began calling, texting all the conservatives on the committee, and we shut that down after a vicious debate in committee. But this wasn't sponsored by a Democrat. This was not a leftist agenda item. It was Lane Roberts pushing gun control as a Republican in the Republican-controlled House of Representatives. And then, when that effort failed, Lane Roberts then worked with a Democrat member to file another amendment on the bill, which would make it a crime for anybody in Missouri to possess ammunition under the age of 18. Again, insanity. Insanity. My 17-year-old son is watching right now behind the camera. He's the guy hitting the record button for me right now. And if Lane Roberts' amendment had passed, he'd be a criminal because he has a box of 22 shells in his pickup right now. How many of your children or grandchildren or friends of yours, their children, their grandchildren, have access to ammunition? I want my children to have access to ammunition when I'm gone from the house. I want them to have the option of self-defense. The idea of making them criminals for possessing ammunition, absolutely insane. And it was Lane Roberts who worked with the Democrats to push that language on the crime bill as an amendment. That also failed. We shot that down hard. But that just goes to show you what a double-faced, backstabbing liar Lane Roberts has become when it comes to the Second Amendment. I use those words with care. He's got a reputation in Joplin. He's well known. We're not trying to be sensational. He tells gun owners he's pro-gun. He is lying to you. His actions have made that clear in Jefferson City. So guys, if you see Lane Roberts, ask him to apologize to you for pushing gun control in the Missouri House. Tell him to fill out the Missouri Firearms Coalition Candidate Survey Program so you know where he stands on things like red flag gun seizures. And if you see Thomas Ross, be sure and thank him also for his 100% survey and for having the guts to sponsor pro-gun bills here in Missouri. Guys, that's our recap in this race. Do me a favor, share it on social media. You can find it on Twitter. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on our Facebook page. Wherever you're watching this, share it on social media and get the word out. Guys, much more race recaps on all of our platforms. Check them out. And join the fight today, guys, at joinmofc.com.